contact person on this trip to Ireland. You can take it.
Oh, outstanding. That's my cue. Well, welcome, welcome. My name is Kent Van Rukel. I proudly represent Central Holidays West, and I'm very excited to share the Emerald Island of Ireland with you. Delighted to have Betty and the Chamber inviting you folks on this incredible experience. I know a lot of you have heard about Ireland. You've seen pictures of Ireland. You've talked to people that have been to Ireland. Maybe this is your time and this is your turn to go. So we'd love to have you join us. We do have plenty of room left. Meaning we have more like 10 rooms left. So we're in nice shape for a nice crowd, a nice group. We've got several signed up already. But we always say the more the merrier. And we would, of course, love to have you join us. So on the right side of the computer screen, for those watching at home, if you do have a question, you're able to just click your chat button and ask the question. If with the group with Betty, if you do have a question, you might just want to interject what you want. But I have to be upfront. I've got a version that the online people will see, and that's the one we're recording. And then we also have the one that Betty is showing at the office. So there's going to be about 10 different slides, but we'll work our way through it. Okay. Yeah. So as long as we got Betty on board, away we go. So Betty, if you can change to the next slide.
Got it.
Okay, now mine won't change. There we go. It's the Who is Central Holidays. For some of you that have not traveled with us before, we're a valued travel company. We're a tour operator since 1972. We've been building trips all over the world. We do have headquarters, our offices in Paris, Rome, Cairo, and Moonachie, New Jersey. Not near as exciting as Paris, Rome, or Cairo, but we do a lot of American business. You'll be traveling with American travelers. We are part of the SACAR International Group with employees. We're over 2,000 employees now. So, and then we're also, and I think how Betty found us, we are the official travel partner of the American Chamber of Commerce Executives. So we always joke, if the American ACCE trusts us, so can you. But you will find that we have a great value here and a great program. So we're going to continue on to the next slide and see some of the incredible pictures of Ireland. So I've got a scenery picture up first. The next picture is going to be of an entertainer, like the River Dance program. And we're going to see the cultures. We call this cultural immersion, because we want you to experience what they experience. And then the third picture is a gentleman, and we're looking at a true Irishman, just a single picture of a true Irishman. And I find it fascinating that 94% of the people in Ireland are Irish. Now, I can hear some of you kind of giggling in the background, but really what it comes down to is when you think of America, how many people are American? Well, we all are, but we have different heritages. What makes Ireland so special is 94% of the people are still from there, meaning their traditions and their culture doesn't diversify very much at all. So things are often done just the way they were hundreds and hundreds of years ago. They love us when we come to travel. They invite the American tourists, but I always joke, they always tell us to, obviously, after our visit, to go home, because only 6% of their people are immigrants and outside of the Irish people. So 94% Irish, with 90% are Catholic. So on we go to our next picture, which should be a picture of the jet airplane depart USA for Ireland. You do realize that the tickets we have are going to fly us from Kansas City, so you know you've got local air to get you to Ireland and back. And then I look at the picture, mine says, "Welcome to Ireland." So Betty, if you see the picture, welcome to Ireland. It's got a bunch of Irish leprechaun dolls in the picture.
Yes, we have it.
And on to the next picture, where it says, "Meet your Central Holidays representative at the Dublin International Airport." Are you with me, Betty?
Yes.
excellent. So for you that have never been on an escorted tour, what it really does, it just takes all the worries and all the stress out of your travel. We have great inclusion, so it takes a great tour manager to just keeps everything's humming along. When you see these narrow roads, you're going to be glad you're not driving, and you're certainly glad you're not fighting over a map. But your arrangements are made. We have great hotels, great inclusions, meals, and then we have a balance of free time so you can enjoy the trip on your own as well. So for the first timers, you're going to love the experience, and I think we'll spoil you to get you back for more. For the people that have been on these before, you know how it works. The guides will meet you at the airport, and then our luggage is taken care of on all of our transfers in and out of all the hotels that we stay at. So it's great to have a guide, and it's even better to have your own personal bellhop. Our next picture I'm looking at is the map of Ireland, and this gives you a good taste of where we're going. We're going to start right in the center. To the right side, you'll see Dublin. And by the way, if you're wondering, Dublin is an island. You see a lot of little outside edges. They boast a longer coastline than even like the state of California, which they claim they have the longest coastline. But that shape you're looking at is approximately 200 miles wide by 300 miles north to south. So if you think of the size of that, how long is the state of Kansas?
507.
So you can see Ireland would fully fit into a state like Kansas. So it's not a huge area, but what you will find is they just don't have an interstate system like what's the payroll, the toll road like we do in Kansas. But anyway, so one night we'll be in Dublin, where we stay at a neat castle. Then we'll cross the country over to Galway on our way to 2 nights in Limerick, 2 nights in Killarney, then back through, you see the arrow through Waterford, up to 2 nights right on O'Connell Street in Dublin. And some will fly home, but if you've never been there and you'd like to, you can see there is an optional extension to Northern Ireland, 2 nights in Belfast. So the trip, the bottom 3 stars is where you're going to be staying. 1 night, 2 nights, 2 nights, and then 2 nights back in Dublin. And for those that wish to extend, you'll see 2 nights up at the star at the top, which would be Belfast. My next slide is our first hotel, the Fitzpatrick Castle Hotel. I tell you what, we've chosen this, we handpicked this hotel because it's going to get us away from the busyness. For you that have traveled to Europe before, you know that overnight flight, some of you sleep well on planes and most of you don't. So it's nice to get there, get your feet down, put at a beautiful castle hotel, 18th century Irish castle, and it's on the coast, so a beautiful place to just relax, get your feet down on the ground, enjoy, and instead of putting you in the busyness and touring, we're going to get you on the motor coach and bring you out to the castle. So it's a wonderful start to the trip. My next slide is going to show you the inside of the hotel. You'll notice that it's very elegant. The all-wood bar in the top left corner, some beautiful beds on the right. You see the table arrangements and even an indoor swimming pool. You notice they do have a health club. We're not going to have enough time to use everything, all the services of this hotel, but it is truly a beautiful property. Our next picture, mine says depart to Limerick. And where we are now is we're on day 3 and we're off to Limerick. Well, if you looked at the map, you'll notice we'll kind of take a little bit southerly route, bypassing Dublin. So we have a good chance to run into our interstate. And if you look at the traffic picture, I'm looking at the picture now with all the sheep. And you've got the narrow roads with the stone walls on each side. And that's our traffic jam getting out of Dublin. These country roads are truly used for moving the herds from place to place, or taking them to shears, or just moving them from field to field. But it's fairly common sight. I do think what's amazing is on the sides. Notice those stone walls. Those walls were stacked years ago. And a lot of times the story goes that the government actually paid people during the famine years, and they would pay people to stack the rocks to set up their line fences. So they cleared their fields of rocks and built these amazing walls, really, because most stand with no mortar. So that's rock stacking at its finest. They've been there now long enough that the gravity holds them together, but pretty amazing, and you'll see these rock walls everywhere you go. My next picture is of the Wicklow, the mountain range there. And for some of you landlubbers, you look at that doesn't look like mountains to me. Well, it's about as high as the peaks get in Ireland. Ireland is not a mountainous country, but you can see a beautiful valley with a neat river going through it, and the mountain views. But our reason for going the south route is, of course, again, bypassing Dublin, and now you see the picture of Glendalough and St. Kevin's Monastery. Some of these churches were developed back in the 5th century, and they were actually born on places where the first patron saints would have been buried. Often in those days, they buried the saint underneath the pulpit. That was kind of their tradition. So then the churches were built around them, and as they got bigger and they remodeled and added, they would still build on that same site to where they knew it was over the saint. So the St. Kevin's Monastery and the chapel is where we'll be visiting. And then I think you have to jump a couple slides. Welcome to Limerick. Are you with me, Betty?
Yes.
Great job. And it says below there, established in 1812. 1812. How many towns do you folks have established in 1812, let alone 812? If you can imagine 1,400 years of history, there are just some amazing stories about where these cities came from. But what you'll see, located 7 miles northeast of Limerick, right on the River Shannon, is this beautiful castle, the Hotel Castle Oaks House. And that is going to be our hotel for 2 nights. It was formerly known as the Woodlands House, but it's a beautiful site, and we're picking this spot for a couple different reasons. One is for our morning trip, and then also the next is for our city tour into Limerick. But you'll notice the start of the trip, we have some beautiful off the beaten path places. I actually call these boutique hotels. My next picture shows that there's 64 rooms at this Oaks Hotel. That classifies it as a boutique hotel, and you can kind of see, again, very majestic, and even again, once again, indoor pool. And for the people wondering, yes, the bathrooms do have hair dryers. I know that's a concern, but I think more importantly is in the middle. Complimentary wireless high-speed internet is provided. I always joke, remember, it's never going to be USA high speed, but it is wireless high speed complimentary for you that bring along your laptops and keep up with your family and friends. Now my next picture is to the Bunratty Castle Medieval Banquet. We have a treat in store for you. This is a medieval banquet rated one of the highest on the entire island of Ireland. And the next picture shows 4 different scenes. The one in the top right is the cast in front of the castle, Bunratty Castle. Some of the stars on the left side, but you could see beautiful costumes. And these people that are performing for you are also your servers. Now, if you look in the bottom right corner, one of my favorite pictures is take a look on the bottom right. They're showing us they're pouring out the mead, which is more of an old wine, and wonderful wine. Almost reminds me of port, pretty rich. But that and the shepherd's pie in the middle there, just a spectacular night of entertainment as well as music and food, and complement that all with some of the mead. It's just a great night. My next picture takes me to St. Mary's Cathedral. This is one of those churches that was built in 1168. When they say that established in, that's when the original footings were laid. So it may have done some renovations. But once again, how many houses and churches and buildings do you have built in 1168? 900-year-old buildings are pretty amazing in my book. The next one, of course, Limerick is known for the Shannon River we spoke about earlier. Here you see a beautiful picture of the Shannon River and the St. John's Castle, built in 1212 AD, and it was built as a fortress. Anybody that came up the river would have to get past the castle to get inland. So it was built in a strategic spot, and we get a nice tour walking through the castle, see where the people actually lived in it. Remember, a lot of these castles had city walls connected to them, and this was the center of the city. So this was like City Hall right here, where some people actually lived in it, but most of the people lived within the city walls around the castle. Our next picture kind of gives you a taste that we are on the far west end of the island now, overlooking the cliffs of Moher. More on those in a second, but I just think that's a grand picture where you don't see any beachfront property as much as that amazing Atlantic Ocean. But actually, we're just taking that drive up to the Galway. It's named after the city of tribes. And they had several, I want to say it's 12 tribes that were founded the city. And those 12 tribes each got their own little areas, and it was named the City of Tribes for them. Pictures are going to show you, my next picture is of the harbor. We have some beautiful boats, and the boats are showing us that it's a fishing community. So nice low key, but that's their a lot of their industry is based on the fishing. And I think the next shot, I've got a gentleman overlooking the bay. Just looks like your classic Irishman watching for some boat to return, and maybe singing "My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean." I'm not sure. If you go to the next picture, I'm looking at one of the downtown pictures. It's got a streetscape type of look. You'll see lots of people, tourists going up and down. This is one of those times. Remember, daily we're going to include touring in the morning, a couple hour and a half to 2 hours on your own for lunch, and then we'll get together usually for dinner later. So when you see this picture here, this is probably where we're going to spend your free time for lunch. And you can see lots of great shopping for you that love to shop, and for others of you that love to eat. You can certainly find a pub to watch people and enjoy the local fare. I think your next picture probably the same type of street look. And then on we go to St. Nicholas Cathedral. We see that picture once again, just a grand cathedral with a domed roof and a very Gothic style. We find Galway is quite Gothic, and believe it or not, in style. And a lot of the cities will have their own styles. One of the highlights there will be the Eyre Square. If you go to the Kennedy Memorial Park, and yes, that is in honor of our president. Obviously, with 92% of the people in Irish people being Catholic, they were very proud of our first Catholic president, John F. Kennedy, and actually put a memorial park. He actually came to visit this in September, just a couple months before he was assassinated in Dallas. But pretty poignant square, and yet at the same point, interesting to see them honor our president in this way. The next slide does take us to the Cliffs of Moher, and you will be stunned. I think when you see these pictures, often you know, one thing about pictures, you cannot get the depth like you can when you're there. Imagine those peaks, that edge falling 700 feet. Now I know in Pittsburgh you've got a grain elevator. Most grain elevators are 110 to 125 feet tall. So imagine stacking 6 grain elevators straight up the side of that cliff, and that's how great of a distance this is. So if you just scroll through the next few slides, I think there's 4 of them. The second one is a picture. If you look way in the back, you'll see a little lookout center, a little castle, and that is a place we are going to visit. But you can see it's just a gorgeous area. Now, when you get to the picture that's got the glass roofed, it looks like it's a built-in bunker. In that bunker is the new place. It's called the Eye. And what they've done is the Edge. And what they've done is they've cut this into the mountainside that you can actually walk across through this building and then step out straight off the cliff, right off the cliffs of Moher. So you have a chance to walk on a glass floor and look straight down and see the birds and the craggy edge. But it's a magnificent sight if you so dare walk on the glass floor. The next picture I'm looking at is the O'Brien's Tower. That was that little lookout way in the background of the previous two pictures ago. But phenomenal little place. I am told it is the windiest place on earth, so I will warn you. That's a day you want to put the rocks in your shoes to keep you from floating away.
The water blows up from down below. You get some of that mist.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
All right, now the next picture, I'm looking at the cliffs of Moher with a little wood fence in the front.
Yes.
Not quite OSHA protected, but you'll notice that's the only place you see the fence. The rest of the area is pretty free. They've had a few people fall in their day, so they finally put a fence up. We're in Europe now. There's no OSHA to protect you, so you have to be responsible.
They are totally different.
So, and then the next picture, I just love this shot of a distance scene. This is the photo you get from the O'Briens right there. So absolutely gorgeous. And again, imagine that sheer cliff that you just can't get the full feel for this site. Our next picture shows us we're going to travel through the Buren. Now, the Buren is an amazing place that people just don't understand until you get there. So if you flip to the next picture, you should see it looks like a dried out rock bed on the top left corner with like a table on the right side, which they claim is an old shelter. We just can't imagine how it got there, who would have set that up there. But this is the one place on earth I can bring you to that goes back to the Meso era. Now, we don't talk a lot about eras in our business, in our travel industry. And here's a trip back to the Meso era, when the ground just basically, the rains would wash the soil away and all that's left is the rock. There's down underground rivers in this area, lots of caves, but the Buren is a pretty amazing site. So you should have 3 pictures of that. And then let's go to a little pub look, because when you get back to your town of Limerick, this is one night we don't include dinner on purpose. We want you to get out. We want you to go see the people, find some live music, do a little pub crawl on your own, or of course follow Betty, because I've heard there's nobody likes that Guinness better than Betty. And here's your chance to do a little pub crawl on your own, and you see that black liquid there. That's the Guinness. Now, if you go to the next little picture, I've got one that says, "Welcome to Adare." Thatched roof hutches, the beautiful gardens. This is one of those small towns that everybody loves most. They claim the most photographed town in Ireland, and you can see why. Just a really built, just a beautiful, low-key, beautiful city. My next picture actually shows a picture of the cows grazing right in front of a church. So a very hometown, easy to get along, very picturesque city. And the next one goes back to the one of the gift houses with the thatched roof again. So just a neat little town. We make it a point to visit that. And then the last picture, you'll see it's a mountainside or a hillside, and you see 2 spires of Adare. My next picture should say our interstate to Killarney. The interstate to Killarney, there is no interstate. You'll find that the road's super narrow. They drive on the wrong side of the road, and pretty amazing how we just don't have more broken mirrors than we do. But we're heading to the beautiful city of Killarney, and that's probably, if I said Killarney and you close your eyes, imagine a scene from Ireland, this town is probably it. And you'll see there's 1, 2, 3, 2 pictures of Killarney before you get to the horse-drawn jaunting car rides. When you get to in fact, it might be out of order. You're probably looking at the Muckross House.
Yep.
All right, the Muckross House is a beautiful property built back in the 1800s, but they have beautiful grounds, British Gardens, and they pick us up with those carts right in the city center. So we take the jaunting cart out to the Muckross House and Grounds. We're going to visit those grounds. The next picture is 2 of the outside and 2 of the gardens. This was actually approved by Queen Elizabeth herself, or Victoria. Let's see, who is the current one? Elizabeth, so it must be Queen Victoria approved the gardens in Scotland to actually, or in Ireland to actually be approved British gardens. So pretty neat house. And your picture's probably of the horse rides. You see the carriages now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And there's your jaunting cart. So 1 horse. It's kind of like a 1-horse open sleigh without sleighs. Yeah. On we go to the Randall's Court Hotel. You'll find that we have a beautiful, once again, look at this property we're coming on. It's called the Randall's Hotel Killarney. There's a couple pictures of it, 4-star accommodations, great location, but try this, a 5-minute walk from town center. You know, a lot of times we say it's a short 15-minute, a short 20-minute walk. You know, you can walk a long ways in 20 minutes, but 5 minutes, it's right downtown. This Carey Hotel has been inviting guests since 1906. Great hospitality, beautiful, wonderful restaurant, and you'll see a bunch of the other accommodations there. But it truly is a beautiful Killarney property in a great location. The next picture is a map of the Ring of Kerry. We're going to be taking the Ring of Kerry. It leaves Killarney, works its way around all those great little towns right along the shoreline, and it's about 105 miles roundabout. So it's a wonderful little drive, and we're going to take our time with lots of stops as we go in these neat little villages, meet some of those people. So on we go with some of the pictures. Take a look at the next picture. You might have a side hill with all the stone walls and the great little interstate highway on the right side. Then we go on to some of the beautiful scenery when we look over the Atlantic Ocean off on the west coast. Our next picture, more of a quiet little, some of the boats, just little fishing boats right along the river, and then on. So as you go through these 4, 5, 6 different pictures, you can just imagine yourself here. It's just a beautiful photo ready area, part of the island. And then you'll get up to the picture with the man herding the sheep. You'll see the sheep in that picture. We'll be seeing lots and lots of sheep on this trip. The next picture with the building, with the pink building in it, just the small towns as we go along. Great place for having a bite to eat, a pint of Guinness, and maybe a shepherd's pie for you. I'm looking at the Lakes of Killarney picture. The Lakes of Killarney is the area, and the next picture called the Ladies' View is where the Queen used to take her pregnant servants or pregnant staff, and they weren't to be seen when they were pregnant. So they were taken here and housed, and they would actually have birth at the Ladies' View area, and then they would initiate them back into society after they had regained their shape and figure. So kind of a neat little story about the Ladies' View and that area. Then we come back to town, back into Killarney for the night, and we have dinner that night. Now, if you, Betty, if you move up to the Blarney Castle picture.
Yeah.
On our way to Dublin, we're going to stop at the Blarney Castle. So your next pictures are going to be at an amazing castle. You'll see that we have, it's an old castle. There's no elevators here. We walk. Some places are so narrow you have to go sideways. About 169 stairs. Takes you to the top of the castle. And as you scroll through the pictures, you see a gentleman. And anybody can make the walk. It's just, we'll take our time and be easy. But it's narrow, odd shaped steps. It's not for everybody, but for most people, they're going to enjoy that walk. And then you're going to get up to the picture where it says, will you dare to kiss the Blarney Stone? That's where the official kisser holder lays you in the backward upright position, and you can kiss the Blarney Stone to get the gift of eloquence. And who doesn't want a picture of like this for their wall? Some great shots for you. And then the next picture should be a picture of the Blarney Castle grounds, gorgeous from up top, and a chance to count some of those 30 shades of green that Irish brags. The next picture goes to the Blarney Woolen Mills. Great place to stop for some great gifts. Everything here, I should say the majority of things here, made from Ireland by Irish people. So it's a neat thing. I'm going to admit it's not a cheap place as much as it's an authentic place. So you know the difference between cheap and authentic. And very authentic and some real nice gifts here. You should get to a pug in a sweater. No, that's not a pug. A dog with a sweater. Gifts for every member of the family. From there, we'll continue on, and we're up to Dublin. In Dublin, you'll see the beautiful O'Connell Street, and on the left, a picture of Bailey's original Irish cream. The next picture tells us we're going to be staying at the Gresham Hotel. The Gresham Hotel, more modern, 280 guest rooms. It is truly first class, beautiful place, and the reason we chose it is the next picture. It overlooks O'Connell Street. So you are on the main drag. It's a perfect spot to be. Let's see, it has a restaurant, bar, modern bedrooms, hair dryers, ironing service, tea, high tea, and you're all within walking distance to the Temple Bar, the river. It's just the perfect location. So I'm going to our next picture. The city tour of Dublin is going to be with the Customs House. This used to be where they report all customs when you'd arrive in the country. You'd have to declare what you brought in. We're going to tour Grafton Street. That's as popular as O'Connell, but the Grafton Street and Molly Malone. Some of you may have heard of the song. And cockles and mussels. That's what she would sell each day. So the fishermen would bring in their fresh harvest, the morning harvest, and they would bring them in, and Molly would sell them. The next picture is of the Temple Bar, kind of one of those namesake, great place to buy a t-shirt, great souvenir. You see it during the day, and then the next picture at night. Hop and Joint, very small, so many of the pubs are. But my trivia question for you, and for you that are watching online, if you want to look at click on the chat, take a guess, how many pubs are in Dublin? Betty, do you know?
I have no idea. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot on every block.
I don't know if anybody guessing, but if you could imagine, there's 850 pubs. So some amazing history there, as well as a lot of fun. So you'll notice one night when we get to Dublin, we do not include the dinner the first night. Once again, on purpose, we want you to be in the streets. We want you looking for some great little place for you to enjoy dinner, and it'll be in a non-group setting, unless, of course, once again you're sticking with the group, which is always fun as well. But it's not. It's a night when you can choose, because our following night we're going to have our farewell dinner. The next picture, I've got a couple gentlemen sitting on the street playing the violins and fiddle, and another one on the banjo. Music pretty much everywhere. It's always something going on. Past that, you'll see a picture of Trinity College. This is a pretty amazing college. They have the big thing is their library holds over 1,000 different books, 1 million different books, I'm sorry. So you should see a picture of the inside of the library. And then their featured point is the Book of Kells. Can you imagine a 1,200-year-old book? Only a few in existence in the world. But this is back when the priest would actually copy the manuscripts, just letter by letter, copied the pictures, everything. And I want to say there's 3 or 4 copies in the world. One of them is here at Trinity College. So we'll have a chance to see that. My next picture shows us the Guinness factory, where we will have a chance to tour the factory. And then, of course, pour yourself. They'll teach you how to pour the perfect Guinness. And you'll see the next picture is that black liquid that some of you, you say you can eat it with a spoon, but you do want to try it when you're in Ireland just simply because it tastes different than it does over here. And everybody says it's so much better, but wow, look how thick that stuff is. Your next picture, again, the Grafton and O'Connell Streets, where a person can have their lunch on their own. And then a picture of an airplane where your 9 days are up and we need to fly home. So if you go to the highlight program, it says our Ireland program includes, yes, we have the round trip air transportation from Kansas City, lots of great meals, which is daily breakfast every day, that full buffet style breakfast, lots of dinners. And as you cruise down, you'll see that we really include baggage handling, the professional guide, everything that we've talked about. For the final price of $32.99 per person, double occupancy. So great value, super deal, super price. And the only thing on the bottom, you look at the fine print, pricing does not include the gratuities for guides and drivers, passports, and items of a personal nature. I couldn't afford the adult beverages. So remember, the medieval banquet, the farewell dinner will have adult beverages. The rest of those will be yours, as well as the gratuities to the guides and drivers. Otherwise, $32.99 for everything you just saw. Now, for you those that haven't had enough, if you go on, you're going to see a picture that says extend to Belfast. Belfast, of course, years back was always the center of the news, and really they haven't had any type of excitement like that for a long time. So yes, it is a safe place to go. You'll see that for those that extend, they're going to be staying at the Europa Hotel in Belfast. So you see the Europa, you'll find it's got an interesting entry, but the building itself is very modern. Right in the center of the street, next to the Great Victoria Street Railway, 272 rooms. This is a very nice, pretty plush place. So I'm going on to my pictures included features. If you do choose to extend, it's only $5.99 per person for 2 nights in Belfast, 2 more breakfast and a dinner, and the tours that are listed, because Belfast, you're going to come to find, is not the highlight to the extension. So if you turn the page, you should see one that says New Grange from 3000 BC. Imagine a site that they've determined to be older than the pyramids. So we came from the Meso era, which is older yet, to a site that is actually older than the pyramids. 300 BC makes it what? 5,000 years old. The next picture inside, you'll see it was built as a memorial. So they actually have some coffins in here. Some people have been buried. This was called the Tomb of New Grange. So really an amazing story. And again, back to the who lived here, why they built it, and what's it for. So everything you're going to see is just assumed, because there truly is no history on it. The next slide will show you Belfast, the Albert Clock, the Opera House, and the famous Harland and Wolff Shipyard. And the big reason for the famous Harland and Wolff Shipyard is the poster to the bottom right corner. The Titanic was built here. So we are going to be able to see that shipyard. And they actually still do build ships in this area. But this is also the town a lot of immigrants took off from. When they left Ireland, most thought they came from the south end, like where the Titanic sailed from. But a lot of people actually left the northern ports of Ireland and came over to the U.S. My next slide is the Queen's University we're going to visit, and then a beautiful Parliament view. So Belfast, a pretty town. It used to be, like I say, a lot more. The word really is. It was war-torn. It's really cleaned up well and better. But the next is, I think, the highlight. You're going to see pictures start on top. It says Giant's Causeway. And that next picture, when you see the crazy-shaped, just a unique landscape in the front, they're like an octagon-shaped rocks, stones. That next picture, same deal with the pictures of the stones going into the ocean. This formation is a basalt formation, and this volcanic eruption brought this from under the ground, and something about that basalt formed these shapes, and it came straight out of the ground as you see it. There is no other site in the world like it, and I will tell you that could be one of the highlights to your trip to Ireland. Absolutely phenomenal site. They want to make it the 8th wonder of the world, and there is none like it. So the UNESCO World Heritage has made it an official World Heritage Site. Your next pictures, I'm not sure what you're going to see, but if you just scroll through, you'll see a gal serving you a pint of Guinness. You'll be seeing a picture of the Riverdance, the home of Riverdance, and then onto a picture of passports. It said that no visa is required for this trip, only a passport. And I do recommend you check your passport. You're going to want 6 months beyond your trip. If we're going in October, think November, December, January, February, March, April. Figure about May of 2016 for expiration, and you'll be safe to go with that passport. If it's before that, you probably want to get a new one. Passports used to be 10 years. Now they're 9.5. So just be aware. Only a passport's needed for this trip. The next picture is a picture of some folks with big smiles on their face. You can see they're having a great time. How do I sign up? To which we go to the next page, which tells about the travel insurance. We do offer a wonderful travel plan, a travel insurance that protects you and really protects you before and during the trip. Because if something happens and you've made your deposit with the insurance, you're also protected for all your pre-existing medical conditions of you, your immediate family, aunts, uncles, and nieces and nephews. So it's really amazing protection. You'll see the different listings there of what's covered. I think you just have a list, Betty.
Yes.
We've got a picture on ours now. We updated the slide with a picture of what the policy is, and we use the company TripMate. So it's truly excellent coverage. And then you should get to the next slide. It should be the Welcome to Ireland and the World of Central Holidays. Do you see it?
Yes, sir.
And that will complete the pictures that we have. So with that, I'm going to tell you, if you've got the registration form in your hands, all I ask is do me a couple favors. One, print your name with your passport name. Print it as clear as you can be. I always joke, gentlemen, let your wives do it. We have a tough time reading penmanship to the degree we're now requesting passports with your registrations so we can get it verified and everything spelled correctly. Airlines don't care. They just charge people $250 if I have to change the spelling of a name. So with that, I can also pull up my copy of the registration form. And the registration form, top to bottom, pretty simple. And what you just want to do, like I say, is just be very clear on it. If you are a couple, you only need to fill out one. If you're a single rooming with someone else, you need to fill out two. And of course, if you're single, we need to have two. But if you just work from top to bottom, you're going to see it's pretty self-explanatory. But the deposit for this trip is $500. And if you choose, which we're going to highly recommend, you choose to include the insurance, that's going to be $269. That's the premium we put. That would be your deposit amount. So $500 plus the $269 would be a deposit of $769. Also, what we told you before is if you do know you're going to be doing the Belfast extension, we would like to know that as soon as possible so we don't set an airline schedule. We don't buy airline schedules without the extension on it. So for you that are considering Belfast or that have signed up, if you want to do the Belfast, please let us know as soon as possible. And you can put the $599 right in with your deposit. So you're looking at the $500 plus the $269, and if you're doing Belfast, just add the $599 per person. If you're single, you can see it's a little bit more, but we'd love to have you on that extension as well. So with that, any other questions that I can help you answer? For you that are online, you can go to the chat box. You click the word chat, enter your message, and I'll answer your questions. Betty, for your crowd there, any other questions?
In order to do the extension, we have to have how many?
You know, a list that we have to have 20.
Right.
So we need 20 people to do the extension. Keep in mind
Right.
that's between you and the other groups promoting.
Okay.
So
I
if
know
you
so far none of our group has done that.
okay, so if you have 8 that want to extend and the other group has 12, we're going to go.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you a little secret. Ian doesn't like to cancel for any reason. So if we have 14, 16, and we didn't quite make the 20, a little secret. Don't let Ian tell me. Don't get me in trouble here. We'll run the extension.
Hey, you're recording.
I know. Maybe I should. Yeah, maybe I could pause that for a minute. No, that we've been known to go for lesser. We just we got to set a number there somewhere. So
Sure, absolutely.
good question.
Anybody have weather? Yeah. Ken, the weather, you might talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Very valid question. Most people don't realize that the average high in Dublin, we'll just pick on Dublin, the average high never gets above 62. So it never gets hot, it never gets cold. So the temperature in October, I'm going to tell you, is going to be similar to our October. So with that said, you're looking at, I would expect it to be any place from 55 to 65 for highs. Because again, it's just so mild. Now your evenings might dip into the upper 40s. So again, consider similar to our October, and I think that'd be the best. As far as rain goes, if you look, average rain doesn't move a lot from month to month. So it's not a rainy season. It's some of the drier seasons, but I think May is truly the driest month. May through September, I think, is the driest months. And then you're talking about 1/10 of an inch more, 2/10 of an inch more per month going to and from. So you always expect showers in Ireland, but they come in, it rains, and they go away. So no sweat. Also, we're going to tell you to dress in layers. It doesn't snow there. Very rarely it snows. So I wouldn't worry about, cold weather clothes. But if you figure 40 at 45 at night to 60 during the day, that I think would cover you.
The temperature is going to be basically like it was in March, February, March,
There you go.
right?
Yeah, I would say exactly. And our February wasn't so bad this year, but I'd say definitely like our March. It was, it just seemed like it didn't want to break into spring. It was chilly, but it wasn't cold, and that's what it was. That's what it should be.
Great.
I do have a question from Lindsay. She's asking, so we have no single people going. Would there be anyone willing to ride to and from the airport? I would leave that a little bit to Betty, Lindsay. I would tell you that typically we'll realize what type of group we have, and a lot of times we get together and figure out how to get the whole group together. Isn't that right, Betty?
Right. That will also depend on if we do an extension, because the last trip we did, some people did extension and others did not. So we couldn't get a bus, but depending on the time of the flight too, a lot of people went up early and stayed the night before and then just caught a shuttle to the airport because it was just a lot easier, a lot less stressful. You're in Kansas City. And so.
Yeah, so I hope Lindsay could hear that as well, but I hope that calms your fears. No worries.
Yeah, Lindsay and I have been talking, and I told her that I was sure that we could figure out some way to get her to Kansas City and back if she didn't find a roommate, because at this point we didn't have another single person that was going.
Well, there's a good point as well. Anybody that knows of a single person, often what we'll do, and I'm sure Betty's done this, is we'll exchange phone numbers with two singles looking for roommates, and if you're compatible, you can share a room together. We don't like putting people together, just throwing them together if they don't know each other to some degree, even if it's just over coffee. And that way you can see if there's compatibility there, and we want to make your experience great.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions?
Are money good over there?
Oh, well, Which is what's good.
but-
Right. The question was about money.
Yep.
They don't take U.S. dollars.
Nope. They are in the euro. So you'll go to your, I don't, Betty, do you have a national bank in town? Sometimes they stock euros.
We do not, but what I did, I went to the bank that I bank at, BMO, and they exchanged it, and they don't charge a fee to exchange it. Some of the other banks do, but BMO didn't. And
they will tell you what part of the day to get the best rate.
yeah, and I mean, they exchange it at a very, very close to comparable, I mean, close to what, in fact, probably better than you're going to get over there, because a lot of the places will charge you. Like,
And then-
euros.
BMO, is it Citizens Bank?
Yes, used to be First State Bank.
Oh, they go.
Yeah.
With that said, also remember, if you do choose the extension, you're going to go to Northern Ireland, still part of Great Britain, and they use the pound.
Oh, right. That gets confusing.
I bet.
Yeah. And the rate right now,
Oh.
I haven't checked, but it had been down to like 1.14, which was wonderful.
Oh yeah.
You know what it is now?
You wrote right, and I just opened it up. 112.
Oh, gee. Yeah, because it
Yep.
was like 135 when we went to Italy.
So
it's
the dollar's going to buy you 88 cents on the euro. So, yep, very good. Very close to even.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. If there's no other questions, if you
Hang on a second, Kent, I may have another one.
go ahead.
Dryers and things.
Yes, there are.
Yeah, I have a plug that.
Yes, they do have to have the plug for the converter, right? Because their plugins are different.
Yep, absolutely. You'll definitely need your both the conversion, and most time you get a converter, a voltage converter, you get the little adapter plugs. You want to take both the adapter plugs and the converter.
Right.
Yep, you will need those. They are 220 power, and we are 110.
Yeah.
So it converts it for you.
So they don't actually have hair dryers there.
No, they do have hair dryers, but
Oh.
and so you won't have to convert their hair dryer.
Computer.
Right. If you want to charge your
Use their
phone,
dryer?
if you want to use
Oh, okay.
charge your camera.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but you won't need it if you are not taking anything like that. Their hair dryer works fine.
Another good question. Do we have enough right now to do the extension? And I'm just going to put, can't answer that at this time. We just don't know how many total we're going to get, and then we'll discuss it. Plus, like I said, 20 is we use 20 as the guideline, but we'll have to make that determination as we get closer. So I wish I had a better answer. I can tell you 90 days out we'll know.
So this group and another group from somewhere else?
Right, because what they try to fill a bus, and so I don't remember where the other group is from, but when my husband and I have gone before, we've not known anybody, and so we were put with, a totally group of people we didn't know, and it was wonderful. I mean, because you get a great chance to visit, and
Is this summer going? Yeah, who is our tour guide? I mean, we don't know.
I don't know his name.
So,
I will
we-
find out ahead of time. I'll find out when we find out on our
Our
ticket.
home, I go to Kansas City.
Yeah, and I hate to say I can't tell you who the other group is as well, because they have a name. Let's see, I just pulled it here. They have the name of the group 1016. But it's called the Chamber of Commerce Grand Haven Spring Lake Ferry. That mean anything to you?
No.
Me neither. Sorry.
Where are they flying out of?
That's what I'm saying. I have no other information but the town.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, no, that's all right. We'll join up with them somewhere.
There you go.
When we fly out of Kansas City.
You know, often we try to get to Chicago as soon as possible because Aer Lingus takes us in and out directly from Dublin. So we should be on Aer Lingus. Betty, for your records, I got
Yes.
Janine, Lindsay, and Michelle are on the web.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad Lindsay's with you, or I'm glad she called in because I had expected her here and I was worried about her. So.
Well, I'm looking at her name, and she's asking questions, so we're good.
Good.
So with that, I would tell you, anytime you can check with Betty as far as any questions you have. I will tell you, I love to get the registrations in, get them taken care of. People always say, when's the last day I can sign up? Well, it's the day before all the seats are full. We really don't know, so we try to set a sense of urgency. I can tell you that Betty likes to package them together and then send them all at once. So, if you could do us a favor, maybe have them in together by next Friday. It gives you the weekend to talk about it, invite your friends. If you had a relative that wanted to fly out of Chicago, let us know. We'll get air from Chicago for them. It'll probably be a little less. If you had a friend from Florida, who knows? It might be a little less because it's less flying. West Coast might cost more. But they can join us, enjoy the tour, and then we'll fly them back to Florida, whatever. So, but it is open to anybody and everybody, right, Betty?
Yes, sir.
So with that, I think I'm going to sign off and stop the recording. You can put this on your website. I'll send that to you tomorrow, but I'm delighted that you folks took the time to listen in, and for some of you watching online. Sorry about the little confusion, but the internet down in Pittsburgh, we can't really help that one. So I'm glad we had the pictures on your computer like we.
Yeah, that worked out well.
We just didn't plan it that way when we left them there before, but I'm delighted to be with you. If you have any further questions, I know Betty also has my phone number. Don't be shy. We would love to have you on. I consider one of these trips of a lifetime to Ireland.
Well, thank you so much, Kent.
All right. Thank you all. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.